Welcome, my name is Michael Andreas. I'm the Director of Safety, Security, and Emergency Management for the Sarasota County School District. I'd like to take this opportunity to welcome you into the district as a new employee. This is a wonderful place to work, teach, and be a part of the safety team. I believe that the Safety Security Department has the most important mission in the district. Everything else I would say is peripheral. Safety security is the meaningful piece. We can never underestimate the value of safety security here in the school district. So our responsibilities, they range from risk and vulnerability analysis to strategic planning, emergency planning, continuous operations, assessments, central monitoring, background investigations, credentialing, shelter operations, even the mailroom. All of that falls under the Department of Safety, Security, and Emergency Management. Additionally, we have the Safe Schools Initiative that falls under this department. All the school resource officers, the campus security monitors, all exercises, drills, recording of incidents, the technology that we use, and even our weather advisories are all part of the Safety Security Department. So let's talk about three main areas: access control, visitor management, and our safety planning. When you look at some of the incidents that have happened throughout the world relative to school safety and school violence, does anyone recognize these two individuals? These two are the perpetrators of the Columbine massacre, and during that time they're students, young students who formulated a plan, a deadly plan, did it on their own without any professional help, got their information from different resources. And part of their plan was to create improvised explosive devices. Those devices, their plan was to create more than 90 of these things, to carry them into the schools and to throw them into open classroom doors kind of thing. Now that point will become significant later on in our presentation. Just wanted you to think about that at this time. When we begin to talk about closed doors and locked doors and classrooms and all that, that piece of it is meaningful. This is our safety team. You can see we're a relatively small department, and so there are really just a few of us in the department that can get out into the schools and do the kind of things that where the schools need our help. For planning, assessment, advisory roles, analysis, evaluation, those kinds of things, preventative measures. So we're a small department. So we really rely on your help in many cases to let us know when you see something that should be addressed, something that causes you a moment of angst or even a moment of pause. If you have to think about it for a minute or two, please don't hesitate to reach out to the Safety Security Department. To me personally, at the end of this presentation, you'll have my information. You can call my cell, you can call my assistant, you can call my office, and you can call the Operations and Communications Center, and we'll talk about how you do that a little bit later. We have security monitors who sit at a desk. We have two of them on 365. They're on 365 days a year, 24/7. Behind the cameras, we have cameras in every school throughout the district. The Operations Communications Center is available to you. It's a wonderful school resource, and it's also a wonderful regional resource that we can use to our benefit. So those monitors, when they're on, feel free to call the OCC if you feel like, again, any moment of angst, moment of pause, anything you have to think about, even if you're leaving your school late in the afternoon and it's dark perhaps and you want to have someone follow you on a camera out to your car. So use it in a very proactive way. They're there for you. The number of the Operations Center is on the back of your ID card. So you should know that number, like I said before, and I've said it 3 times already, you can call that number at any time and someone will answer and someone can call you up on a camera and help you. We know who to contact. If you don't have to figure it out, you just call the OCC if you have an issue, you have a departmental issue, a school issue, or outside of campus, anything that's relative to students or school campuses, please call them, and that way they can start the process. They know who to call, and we get the right resources moving in a timely manner. The locksmiths have been added to my department, so the 2 locksmiths in this department, if you have a lock in your classroom door, it's not working, or you discover a door that's not working or a gate that's not working properly, you can please reach out to us and I can get the locksmiths over there to address that. One of the great assets that we have in the school district is our ability to monitor weather, the weather conditions. There is never a time in the Sarasota County School District that a teacher or school, staff, or principal, whatever, should send students out into harm's way. We have a meteorologist on staff 24/7. We are always monitoring the weather conditions here in Florida, because you know they can be dangerous at times with lightning and inclement weather and whatnot. Every school has provided my department a list of personnel who get the SkyGuard alerts from AccuWeather. Those people who are on that get emails sent out. Sometimes there are a lot of them sent out on a daily basis, letting them know when lightning is approaching, or there's inclement weather approaching, or what have you. So if there's ever a time when you have a question about the weather, if it looks threatening in any way, you can call the OCC and you can find out how close the inclement weather is to your school. In Sarasota County, there is never a reason, in Sarasota County, there is never a reason to send kids out into harm's way relative to the weather, regarding the weather. And there's always a lot of weather-related information available to you as an employee. If I were to ask you what is the best asset that we have in the school district for safety and security, what do you think your response would be? Well, the answer is it's you. So what we're doing in Sarasota County is we're creating a system of safety and security that works collaboratively, synergistically. And what I mean by that is no one policy, no one procedure, no one gate, no one locked door, or no one person can ensure the safety of the entire district. It's truly a team effort from a systems approach. So as the system, if you want to think about a car, all the different elements of a car, they work together and they move the car forward, they back it up, they do all of that together, all those elements, all those components of an automobile working together. That's the way safety and security works. It's all the different elements of safety and security working together synergistically that makes us safe. So the most important element in the system of safety and security at Sarasota County are the people, the human beings. So if you see an unlocked door, or you see someone on campus that causes you angst, or you see something unsafe, or you have a dark hallway, or you see kids being taught, or in a classroom that only has one door and no windows, you see anything that causes it's safety or security related, you are part of that system. Your participation in that system makes us all safe. It's your inaction that hurts us and places us all in danger. But just to give you just a very quick 30,000-foot view of my background, it's military. I was a military officer. I was in law enforcement. I've worked with nearly every federal agency you can think of since 9/11. I've done a great deal of work with the Department of Homeland Security, particularly designing local community protection strategies, those kinds of things. So I can tell you that in all of those fields, it's the human interaction, it's the human participation that help keep us safe. Without that, it just doesn't work. So when we go through some of these specific responsibilities, please know that you truly are a valued and important member of the safety system here. So first of all, we ask that you be proactive and vigilant. Proactiveness is really the way we like to operate. Being proactive, being out there on a daily basis, wearing your ID badge, we'll talk about that in a second, but being aware of your surroundings. Throughout the district, we've had people come onto campus. You'll see a picture here in a minute about someone who got into one of our campuses. We have people trespass on campus, drive their cars on campus, cut through our campuses. With all of these classrooms that we have throughout the district that have exterior doors, we ask that you keep your doors locked. You must keep your doors locked throughout the day. We have a responsibility to the children, to the parents who trust us to do the right kinds of things. So be proactive and vigilant. Be informed. Learn your school. Learn the policies, procedures, how you would get out of your room if there was an emergency, where you would go. Make sure that your intercom system works in your school, in your classroom. It should not be, we're eliminated volume control on those things. They should be set, and you shouldn't be able to turn down a volume in a classroom. We are doing a number of measures. We are taking a number of measures to make sure that you and your children are safe. But be informed. Know what's happening at your school at all times. Know your campus and the policies. Know the physical layout of the campus. Because when you're in an emergency, our brains operate a little differently, and they are working on compressed time at a higher stress level, and sometimes people don't make the best decisions under stress. So we go to what we know. So take all drills seriously. Know where the light switches are. Make sure your door locks. Know how we do get out of a school. Know who should be in your particular hallway. All those kinds of things, all those elements are really important for all of us. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. You can call the OCC, you can call me personally, you can call a member of my staff, you can let someone know at the school what's happening. You can never make a mistake on the positive side of things relative to safety and security. We can make mistakes by not reporting what we see or we observe, or just causes us a moment of pause. So make sure that you're not afraid to make mistakes. Our department, I know I come off a little bit stiff sometimes, people tell me that, but we're really friendly. We like to have interaction. We like to have people reach out to us. We like to have people stop by the office and communicate with us. And you cannot over-communicate when it comes to safety and security. The bystander effect was an experiment, and they take an actor they tell her or him that they're applying for a job, and they sit them in a room, they have them fill out a job application, they sit in a chair. All of the other people in the room filling out the job applications are actors and told not to respond to outside stimuli. So in that room, they start to push smoke underneath the door, and they time how long it takes before someone will respond to that smoke in that room. And surprisingly, you'll see that a significant amount of time goes by before people respond to the smoke, because they look to their peers, the other people who are in the room, they wait for someone else to respond before they respond. I'm talking 15, 20 minutes go by. When there's one person, when you look at that film, one person is filling out their job application, and they literally have to brush the smoke away to complete their form, right? And so you sit there and you say, well, that wouldn't be me. But study after study shows that people often will wait for others to act before they act. So when we take the actors out of that room, and we do that alone with a single person who's not an actor, obviously, and they sit in a chair and ask them to fill out that application, then they push smoke under the door, you'll see that people act pretty quickly on their own. And even in some cases, you'll see that women will leave their purses behind because they're so concerned about the smoke. But that does not happen when others in the room and they're not responding. So we can never look to other people for our cues to act. We ask that when you see something, that you say something and that you take action. So if I were to ask you what is the district's best security hardware, what do you think your response would be? Some people would say cameras, and some would say it would be doors. Those who said doors get 10 points, 10 Department of Safety points. All right, so the doors only work when they're closed and locked. Yeah, doors don't work, and they work to our disadvantage when they are open and unlocked, okay? So we ask that we spend a lot of money on ensuring we have the right hardware, the right lock sets, and the right policies in place, and it only takes a few minutes for someone to get into a school and to get into your classroom if your door is open and unlocked. Going back to Columbine, when those two perpetrators wanted to commit that act, their goal, part of their plan, was to take those homemade explosives and run down the hallway and throw those explosives into classrooms that they knew were unlocked. We don't want that here in Sarasota County, and it's actually district policy to make sure your classroom doors are closed and locked. So there are two sides to a door. On one side, we have these young innocents who are collected in single spacers, the students, particularly the elementary school children. We have an enormous responsibility to keep them safe. Parents, when they drop off their children of all ages, when they drop them off at a school, they expect the school district, all of us, to be doing what's right for them, to make sure that their kids are safe. But on the other side of the door can be someone's worst day, can be a perpetrator, some malcontent, someone who is bent on death and destruction, if you will, And that's why we have doors. That's why we put locks on doors, and that's why we have a policy to keep our doors shut and locked when the kids are in a classroom, and you, teachers and support and all of that, can focus on education. This is a first snapshot of someone. You can see the date and time at the top of this slide. This is an individual who is high on methamphetamine, who got through an unlocked perimeter gate. He had just broken into 3 or 4 houses. He's carrying a bag of jewelry that he stole, and he got across a water area, and he walked along the perimeter of an outside fence, and he came across a gate that was unlocked by an adult. And oftentimes in the safety security business, you'll find that adults will leave gates unlocked and unsecured and doors open for their personal convenience, not for the safety. So what happens is this mentality of it can never happen here, it's never happened here before kind of thing just simply doesn't work. There's no intelligent argument or evidence that supports that. It's a non-argument. These things do happen here, and they can happen anywhere in the United States. So if you look at this person, this image of this person on a deck, he is right outside of a classroom. This is just before school starts. You can see the bag of jewelry he's carrying. You can see that he is completely high on methamphetamine. And just imagine what might have happened if this person bumped into some kids, particularly younger kids. This happened at a middle school. We discovered the teacher who left that gate open, who apologized for leaving the gate open, and they left it open for an issue of convenience. But it becomes an issue of inconvenience, severe inconvenience for the school, for the staff, and for any students who might be assaulted or worse. So please leave gates and doors shut and locked. Your identification card here should be on you at all times. Okay, this is an important piece of identification. It helps us as an important element of the safety security system. And so we ask that everyone, it's actually policy in the district, that everyone wear their ID at all times. When you're in school property, you should have this clipped to your body somewhere where we can see it. Now, it's an important tool in that it helps us identify you, but it helps your peers know who you are. Okay, so we want to really limit people who are in our schools that don't have some sort of identification. Employees must have their ID with them at all times. On the back of the ID, it has the phone number, the 966 SAFE number for the Operations and Communications Center, and some other data on the back. Now, since I've been here, we've met with the SWAT teams, we've met with all the senior law enforcement and emergency personnel groups, and I can tell you that when there's a true emergency and everyone is working on a compressed timeline, the ID is really an asset to us because it helps us categorize people very quickly. You either have your ID and you go into a nice group that gets to stand in the shade and gets fed Chick-fil-A or something like that while the emergency happens, and then the other group who doesn't have their ID stands out in the hot sun, and we don't give them water or anything. I'm just kidding. We do. But there's 2 groups of people, right? And the ID helps us determine where you go. And it doesn't matter if you say, I've been here 10 years or 20 years or what have you. If you don't have your ID, you go into Group B. If you have your ID, you go into Group A. And it's just a matter of efficiency, accountability, and we need to make sure that we are protecting the students when this emergency is happening, because there might be a follow-on event. One emergency might lead to another. And so what we have to do is quickly identify who you are and where you go. And it's just this, I can't say it more plainly, more succinctly, you must have your ID with you when you're on school property. So let's talk about front access control at the school. At our schools. So we have, in this district, we have thousands of doors, and literally thousands of ways onto our campuses. So we want to restrict that, and we want to help the schools manage their time in their day and to ensure everyone is safe and secure. So we want visitors to go through the front of a school. We want all visitors to go through the front of a school. And so what I mean by that is they report to the front office. We have cameras at all of our entrances so we can get visitors on camera. We can help monitor the visitors. When there's a problem, you can call the OCC. Front desk personnel can call the OCC. We can call up that set of cameras. When we ask visitors to come through the front office, it not only helps us put a date time stamp on it, but it helps the school manage their day, and it puts them at the beginning of their visit. So a visitor will come to the front office, the front of a school, go to the front desk, take their driver's license, and give that to the front desk personnel. The driver's license will be run through what we call the Raptor system. The Raptor system then checks that visitor against a national and local database for sexual predators and sexual offenders. If that person does not appear on one of those lists, then a Raptor ID tag will be printed out with their name on it and the date, and we can actually add notes to that now onto that tag, and that printed tag will get stuck onto a plastic lanyard. This is an example of a lanyard. That printed Raptor tag will get attached to this red lanyard, this visitor lanyard, and this lanyard will go over their head, around their neck, and be worn at all times. So what does this do for us? Number one, it helps us leverage the technology we've spent a lot of money on, the surveillance cameras, because these red and white visitor lanyards are easy to spot in the surveillance on the camera systems. They're also easy for you to spot when you're on a campus and you see someone walking. They either have their school ID or they have a red and white visitor lanyard. The red and white visitor lanyard lets you tell at a distance, and you can talk to someone at a distance and ask to see their ID or their visitor lanyard. If they don't have either one, that should give you an automatic red flag. So we can start the process right away, so you can start the process of alerting the right people about someone on campus who hasn't complied one way or the other. So if these lanyards can be seen at a great distance, if they're out on the field or cutting across a field or in a playground area or down a hallway, you can look to see if all visitors should have this red and white visitor lanyard. This is a wonderful tool for us to help us manage and keep our schools safe. At the end of the person's visit, as they leave the school, they go back through the school to the front office. They return the lanyard to the front desk personnel, and they get their driver's license back, and then they go on their way, and everyone is happy and safe. There's no inconvenience to wear these. A lot of other schools have initiated this process. It's proven to work, and it's proven to be very helpful in the feedback from staff and teachers, things that they like this, they want this, and that some people feel uncomfortable questioning someone walking down the hallway that doesn't have this or they don't have this. They've mentioned to me their ID tag, so this makes it easy if every visitor wears the red and white lanyard when they come to school. The site emergency guides. Site emergency guides are located on every classroom wall. So wherever their students are collected in a space, you'll see a red site emergency plan, and it has a number of flip charts in that plan, and it tells you what to do. Please become familiar with that, look at it. If that's your regular classroom, make sure that it's hanging up and you know what's going on. You can take that off of the wall if there's an emergency and carry it with you. One of the flip cards on the inside says help on it, so you can hold that up if you need help during a particular emergency or whatnot. Those are hanging. We have 5,200 of those throughout the district. They are hanging in every single classroom on the wall somewhere, typically by a door. So please become familiar with those and know that they're there. Our understanding of our critical incident code system, we are now introducing plain language emergencies. So you'll hear over the PA system what's happening. So the 4 categories that we'll use are lockdown, shelter in place for event, shelter in place for weather, and evacuation. Over the PA system, you'll hear one of those, this is a lockdown, and you will hear a message that plays that will tell you specifically what to do. On those flip charts I mentioned, you can also look to those, and it'll also tell you to read that, to what you should do during that emergency. Look at those beforehand, before there's an emergency, right? Obviously. But so we've done away with the color codes and all that sort of stuff, trying to figure things out. We will tell you over the PA system what it is you need to do. Follow those instructions, and then, as I said before, take the drills seriously. We will practice those drills throughout the year. In some instances, we will have what we call low notice drills. And a low notice drill is my staff and I, with law enforcement partners and emergency partners and fire department and all that, will show up at a school 10 minutes before we want to run a drill. We'll try to do 1 or 2 of these at every school throughout the year. And in addition, you'll do a number of other drills. And so we'll give the school time to take care of those unique populations that we have to address. We understand that there are some of our students have particular disabilities and whatnot we have to address before we run such a drill. So once we take care of those groups, then we'll run a low notice drill. So what that means is you have to know ahead of time what it is you're going to do during a lockdown, during a shelter in place, or during an evacuation. So those drills become really meaningful when our staff, the system, elements of the system, help know ahead of time what it is you need to do. So practice your plan. If you look at this slide, you'll see an image of a door, one with the curtain up and one with the curtain down. What do you do during a lockdown? One of the most important things you can do is cover the glass in your classroom door. And it should not be closed during the regular day, every day, but you should have something that you can put in front of the glass during a lockdown drill. So your classroom door, let's say a lockdown happens, your classroom door should already be shut and locked. Your classroom glass, the glass that's in your door, out into the hallway or outside, is open and available, so people walking by, the principal and whatnot, want to see into the classroom, and for safety reasons we want to see into a classroom. But during a lockdown we don't. We want you to close your blinds. We want you to block off that glass in your door. And you can do that by purchasing a curtain or something to that effect, or you can just hang a hook above your glass, and you can take your coat or something and just cover that glass during a true emergency. Schools should have a plan. That'll be a requirement of the new emergency plans, that schools have a plan to make sure that every classroom has a way to block their glass. As far as safety and security goes, you can be having your best day possible. You're entertaining the kids, teaching the kids, you've captured their attention and everything's going well, and then just like that, it can turn into your worst day. And so we want to be aware of that, and that's the reason why we have a safety security department. It's the reason why I have a job, the reason why we've asked all of you to participate in the system of safety and security. With that being said, the last slide here is my mugshot with my name and phone number and my cell number and my email address. And at the bottom of that, you'll see 2 arrows pointing to a Safe School Ideas email address. You can send me, as some people do, information anonymously if you prefer to do that. That information comes to me, and then I will go to the school and figure things out. And plenty of staff members have come to me and said, hey, did you know this is happening? Can you help me with this kind of thing? That's what we're here for. So I'd like to wrap up by, again, welcoming you here to the Sarasota County School District. Please know that I appreciate all that you do. It's a wonderful thing being an educator. It's my job to help keep the district safe, but it's also your job as well. So thank you.